Hello everyone and welcome to this video where today I'm going to be filming my 16-week pregnancy update. So as always, if you see me looking down, I do just have my notebook here in front of me with all the bits that I've noted down throughout this week. So in this video I'm going to talk through some of the different symptoms that I've had stay the same and change this week, also my 16-week midwife appointment and my glucose test as well. So first of all, I'll start with some of the symptoms that have stayed the same for me this week. So unfortunately, I've still been getting those headaches that I was talking about in previous weeks. As mentioned, these tend to start later on in the day, last throughout the night and into the next day. They've not got any worse and I tend to get them on the same days. But yeah, just more inconvenient than anything. I have still been getting the back pain. I imagine this is something that's going to continue and probably just get worse if anything, the bigger and heavier that my bump gets. But yeah, once I've relaxed in the evening, I tend to find when I get up, I have quite sharp pain in my lower back. But I'm still able to sleep this off overnight and then be fine throughout the day. I have still been going to bed really early. 8:30 tends to be the time that I will think, right, I'm starting to get tired now, so I'm going to switch everything off and start trying to go to sleep. I do pretty much tend to fall straight asleep as well most nights. I have always pretty much been like that, so that is quite nice. I have still been waking up in the middle of the night to go for a wee again. This hasn't changed. It's usually once a night between 12 p.m. and 3 a.m. But yeah, I have been able to fall straight back asleep when I get out of bed to go to the toilet. So it's not been too much of a bother to me. I have noticed that I've been a little bit more emotional this week again. Again, as I've mentioned in previous weeks, this tends to be quite on and off. One week I'll be fine and then the next week I might be a little bit more emotional, but I think that's just a hormonal change. And yeah, not been too bad this week, just a couple of moments of feeling more emotional. Something new that I've noticed is some mornings I've been waking up and feeling quite nasally congested. I did notice this a couple of times earlier on in pregnancy. I haven't had a cold on any of these weeks, so I know it's not to do with that. But yeah, it tends to be just when I first wake up and then throughout the morning it kind of just disappears. So yeah, that's something new I've experienced this week again. I think also that I have been starting to feel a little bit of movement again this week. I've noticed instead of it feeling like little flutters, it feels more like a pressure. I haven't noticed this every day. It's definitely not like regular movements yet, but just every now and again I can feel like a little bit of pressure in certain areas of my stomach. So I think that is the movements that I'm starting to feel, which is lovely. I'm going to go on now and talk to you about my 16-week midwife appointment. So I had this right at the start of the week, and she started off just going through and testing a few things with me. So the first thing that she checked was my blood pressure, and that was all absolutely fine. And once she'd done that, she got me to go and lie up on the bed, and she said they would give it a go at listening to the baby's heartbeat. She said that sometimes they do struggle to find it straight away, and it is still quite early on, so not to worry if she doesn't find it straight away. But she did find it pretty much instantly, and she said the heartbeat was really strong, which was lovely to hear. I think that would have also been the first time that we were able to hear the baby's heartbeat as well, which was lovely. Obviously it's so nice to see on a scan, but also just hearing the heartbeat and just knowing the reassurance that everything is okay is just amazing. The baby was jumping around quite a lot again while she was listening to the heartbeat, as it was in the scan as well. She did say that the baby's heart rate was a little bit on the high side, so I just had to lie there for a few extra minutes and she was just checking to see whether the heart rate settled, which it did, so that was good. I had also been asked to bring in another urine sample, which she tested once I arrived. She said it had come up at a 3+, which was rather high. So I was already going to be booked in for a glucose tolerance test. I think you normally have it around 26 weeks. However, because I had 3 pluses, she wanted to send me early to go and have my test. So she told me she was going to book that in for later this week, as she'd rather know the results earlier on if possible. So if you've never had a glucose tolerance test before, it is where they are checking the sugar levels in your blood to see whether you have developed gestational diabetes in pregnancy. I had to have the test when I was having my daughter as well, but it all came back okay. I did have it further on in my pregnancy with my daughter. I think I must have been around 24, 26 weeks-ish. But yeah, I had this one booked in for when I was 16 weeks. As I mentioned in one of my previous weeks, I am actually rhesus negative, so they have to test the baby's blood group to work out if it's the same blood type as me or not, and that is done through a blood test when I am 18 weeks. So whilst I was there, the midwife booked that in, so that's my fetal DNA test booked for 18 weeks. She also booked in my next midwife appointment. Now, because it's my second pregnancy, they don't tend to see you as much, so my next one won't be until when I am 28 weeks pregnant, which seemed like so far away when she was booking it in. She did mention though that because it's such a big gap between midwife appointments, if I had any worries or concerns, then I can just give them a call or pop in, and they'd be able to listen to the baby's heartbeat if I needed them to, or any advice or anything I needed really, which was nice and reassuring to hear. She did also just give me a reminder of any symptoms that I need to look out for in pregnancy, and just gave me a triage number in case I developed any and I needed to give somewhere a call. She made sure that I had my 20-week scan booked in, which I already do. They booked that when I was at my 12-week scan. So whilst we was there, we actually got our antenatal classes booked in as well. We'll be attending those in the new year in kind of January, February kind of time. They run for 5 weeks and each week is a 2-hour session. At those sessions, they will talk through pregnancy, labour, and then looking after a newborn and things like that. As I mentioned, it's not my first pregnancy, but it was 10 years ago since I had my daughter, so I'm sure lots have things have changed and recommendations and guidance. It is my partner's first baby as well, so it'll be lovely to be able to go attend those together. I did meet a lovely group of people when I did the classes last time, so hopefully it will be the same again, and we'll get to meet some expectant mothers as well, which will be nice. They did also mention that they hold some breastfeeding masterclasses as well, which I want to look into and see if I can get those booked in, as that's something I'd be very interested to do. I would really like to breastfeed this time. I did breastfeed with my daughter for a few weeks, but it was something I really struggled with. So I want to try and gather a little bit more information on that to help and support myself through breastfeeding this time. So that was pretty much everything that they covered at my 16-week midwife appointment. As I said, that was right at the start of the week on Monday. I then obviously had my glucose test booked for Friday, so I went along to that in the morning. So before I'd gone in for the glucose test, I think it was booked for around 8 a.m-ish. I'd been told that I needed to fast before the test to make sure they got the right results. So I wasn't allowed to eat from 10 p.m. the night before. So I wasn't able to have breakfast before I went in that day. I was only allowed to have water to drink as well. So when I first got there, they asked me to do a urine sample, as they said if it was just a one-off and the urine sample was showing okay this morning, they probably wouldn't go ahead with doing the test because they don't tend to do it this early unless there's good reason to. However, I did do a urine sample for them and I was still showing 1+, so they decided to go ahead and do the test with me. So after that, they called me in and I had my first blood test done. After they had taken my bloods, I was sent back out into the waiting room. I was given a drink. It was a 300 ml drink and it did say it contained 75 grams of glucose. So I had around 10 to 15 minutes or so to drink that, and then I would need to wait 2 hours from that for them to take another blood test. So after I'd waited the 2 hours, I was called back in for my second blood test, and following that I was free to go. All my results are usually sent through onto an app that they use throughout pregnancy. It's where all my appointments and stuff go onto. They said that the results usually come back pretty quickly. They said if everything's okay, then I'll just get my app updated with the results. However, if it comes back that I do have gestational diabetes, then I would be expecting a phone call. But either way, I should hear back by Monday, so it should be pretty quick turnaround. So a couple of other things I thought I'd add in this week is that we've actually ordered our travel system now. So I've decided to go with the Panorama XTI by Babylo. I think that's how you pronounce the company. And we've got that in like the black colour, because obviously we don't know what gender we're having yet. But we went and tested out this pushchair a few weeks ago, and it actually felt really decent. Last time I'd had a Silver Cross travel system and it broke, so I think it just goes to show that always like the best isn't always the best quality, and this one felt really sturdy and we really liked the design of it. Pretty much out of all the pushchairs there, so we decided to go with that. We did also order the Isofix base as well to go alongside that. One other thing we did pick up this week was our bedside crib. So I used the Next to Me crib with my daughter, and I found that really handy. I found it worked a lot better than actually having a Moses basket. I had a Moses basket last time and basically never used it. So I don't think we're going to bother with that this time. But we had seen that Tesco's had an offer on a Joey roomy crib. So we went into Tesco's and we managed to get hold of it. It retailed at £160, but it was down to £50 in Tesco's, which was amazing. So we got that in a grey colour. It does have like a slide down side. Sometimes the sides can be really tricky to undo, but this is literally a button you press and it slides down the side. So it's perfect. It was like just what we're looking for. So it's nice to know that we've got those two big things bought already. But I think that's it for all my updates for 16 weeks. So I'll go ahead now and show you my 16-week pregnancy bump update. So excuse the top because I've just been doing girl guiding and I've got Christmas presents in the background. But this is the bump at 16 weeks and 6 days. So yeah, really starting to stick out a lot now. My belly button is really starting to stick out as well. I have got a belly button piercing in there. And I have got a pregnancy bar in, but it's been really popping out the last few weeks or so. But yeah, 16 weeks and 6 days. So that's everything for my 16-week pregnancy update. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Goodbye.